Welcome back to Blue Collar Speed and Repair. I got a little different video today. I bought a tractor. Of course, it's a little over 40 years old and needs some work. And that's what we're going to try to address today. See if we can get this thing operating like it should and put it back to work. We're playing farmer today. This is a John Deere 750 model. I believe they were produced from 1981 to 1989, if I did my research correctly. According to the serial number and the VIN check stuff I found online, I believe this to be an 85 model. Got this from a local couple. They were clearing out family property and needed it gone. Like I said, it came with a package deal with a bunch of implements that honestly don't need, but we'll go look at that stuff here in a little bit. It's got some issues. Main thing is the ignition switch doesn't work. It doesn't do anything at all. I'm pretty sure it's all corroded from sitting, but that does nothing. Got a couple screwdrivers up here. I've been starting it by jumping the starter. If you turn the ignition switch on and fiddle with the headlight switch, you get a backlight and the tack gauge, but no other lights on this thing at all. So I did get an ignition switch. I did get a headlight switch. So I want to address the electrical issues as well as some battery cable issues. Other than that, it's got this huge pallet fork set up on it. These are, I believe, 46 inches apart, and I think most standard pallets are like 36. So I want to narrow these up so it's actually a little more usable. The original bucket that we got with this thing, you see a new one sitting over there. The original one been sitting around for who knows how long, and the bottom of it's all rotted out. Could probably be repaired, but more trouble than it's worth. So I found that online. Of course, it doesn't fit. On Marketplace. Do you know how expensive tractor implements are? For one, I couldn't find a bucket that actually fit this loader. And all the buckets like new that I could find were $1,000. I'm not spending that for a bucket. That's insane. So I found this one quite a bit cheaper. It's only 50 inch. It's smaller, but it should do fine for what we need it for. And this is only a 20 horsepower tractor. It's not like it's going to be hauling around a lot of dirt and a lot of weight. So pallet forks we need to narrow, bucket we need to make work, electrical issues we got to fix. The only other major thing, there's a lever here that operates the 3-point up and down. This had a bush hog on it when I went to pick it up, and it's actually sitting outside. But if you pull that lever back, that raises the 3-point. So let go of the lever, it drifted forward, 3-point drifted down. Went to pull the lever again, the lever just snapped off of my hand. So we got to address that, get the 3-point working. I got a couple ideas on what to do there. We got to take it apart, get that lever out, and I got to find the broken off lever. I'm not sure where I put it. Other than that, I couldn't get the PTO shaft off. It's got a quick release on the back. I think it's just kind of rusty. I'm gonna have to get in there with a hammer and beat on it, or pry bar and pry it off, or something. I don't know. But overall, thing's pretty cool. Got the super wide body kit. I guess we can look around back here. Makes the rear track of this thing way wider. The tire should be here. It's probably 2 feet wider, or maybe a little more than that. The guy, or the property I got this from was, I think, 9 acres, but it was on a hill. There was a little bit of pasture land, and hauling the implements up from the barn up to the road to load them on the trailer this being wide helped a lot, so I see why I did it. Other than that, I think we'll go look at the implements real quick and then just get to work. Now, I only have an 1.5 acres of property here, so I don't really need all this stuff or most of this stuff, but like I said, it came as a package deal. They were clearing everything out and needed it gone. Couple rakes. Again, I only have an 1.5 acres. I don't need to rake that much. A fertilizer and seed spreader. What else we got? Excuse me. Big grader blade. I have an asphalt driveway, not gravel, so again, not real usable for me, but here it is. Box blade, which could be handy. We do want to do some work around here. Aerator, again, not real useful for me. Bush hog, which I'm excited for, because this whole area between the two properties here needs a little love. Other than that, here's that bucket I was talking about. Let's see how rotten that thing is. It's not much left of that, so it needs to go away. And one thing I'm kind of excited about for some reason, this is a Danuser, I guess you say. Is how you say it. It's a post driver. It's for putting in fence posts. You do something with this lever here, and this big weight drops and knocks a post into the ground. I don't build fences for a living, but it looks dangerous and scary, and I want to try it out. I don't know if we'll get to that now, but other than like the bush hog and probably the box blade, I don't really need any of this stuff, so it'll probably end up going back on Marketplace and make some of my money back. But for now, it's just going to sit here in a pile. So let's go inside, start looking this thing over a little better, and start fixing. So this has a, I believe, a Yanmar 3-cylinder diesel. Again, I believe it's 20 horsepower according to all the specs that I found. And actually, mechanically, this thing is perfect. It runs fantastic. I don't know how long it's set, but it was very well maintained. If you look at all of these fluids, like, where's that dipstick? Is it on the other side? Yeah. Oil is very, very clean. The transmission and hydraulic unit, again, fluid looks brand new. This is a 4-wheel drive model, so there's a dipstick there on the front axle. Again, that fluid is perfectly clean, brand new. The coolant looks brand new. And if you look on the back, somebody's been into this unit. I don't know if you can see this very well, but all this blue silicone. Somebody's been in there and made some repairs or rebuilt it or whatever. So this thing is in mechanically very good shape. Like I said, it runs great. Hydraulics all work, other than that lever on the 3-point that we got to look into. But 20 horsepower. This, they call it an 8-speed, but it's actually a 4-speed with a high and low. It's got levers and pedals and stuff everywhere. Clutch on this side. This engages the PTO. This engages 4-wheel drive. Shifter, of course. That's high and low. And it says high forward and low backwards. This knob's actually on backwards. And I know that because I put it in what I thought was low, but it was actually high. Put it in like a mid-range gear, let the clutch off, and it almost threw me off the back of it. I wasn't prepared. This side we've got, of course, the lever for the 3-point we talked about. This does have a locking differential. You push that down with your foot to lock the rear end. This lever's a brake, park brake basically. You can see it engages there. You have the lever, so this does have a cutting brake, so you can use one brake at a time, and a hand throttle, as well as a foot throttle, so you can actually set idle and then use the foot pedal to increase RPM if you need to. And then of course the controls for the loader, up and down and tilt. So electrical issues are what we're starting with. I know I'm kind of rambling on, but I want to give you guys kind of an overview of what we're working with. Ignition switch, headlight switch, mentioned battery cables earlier. This is the negative cable hanging down here. It's pretty well beat. I think I have some cable that will work. We'll probably just do new cables and new ends. There's this funkiness ran over the top that's currently held on with a pair of vice grips. Battery cables, ignition switch, headlight switch. I'm going to shut up and get to work. You can see all the dirt and corrosion and junk built up on this ignition switch. We took this panel off in that barn that this was sitting in, and there was actually like a bunch of rat nests and nastiness in here, so it's probably got who knows what on it or in it. I did get a replacement. I don't believe it's a John Deere brand, but it looks exactly the same. I think it was like 15 bucks on Amazon, so that should straighten us out hopefully. I'm probably going to snap a couple pictures of this just to be safe. Make sure I get this put back together correctly. That side and that side. There's a leaf. It'd be nice if there was a little more slack in here so I could put them side to side, but there's not. A little more. Just break all the wires, I guess. Good thing is the headlight switch, it just plugs in. So that'll be a little easier. Did bring a wire brush. I just saw a spark. Should probably disconnect the battery by taking vice grips off, just to be safe. Okay. How many of these screws am I going to lose? I want to make sure I keep these all in order. That's the tricky part. I'm going to lose track of where these go, I think. I think what I'm going to do, I don't know how well this shows up, but like this one that goes here, which would be this terminal, is a white wire, so I'm putting a W on it. This one here is black, so BL. Looks like white with a black stripe, so we'll do WB. All right, get that all marked. That should help me keep track of all this stuff. Hopefully. I actually got a manual and a tech manual with this thing, which is handy. I'm sure it has a wiring schematic in it if we need to resort to that. Ignition switch is hooked up. That was a fight in a tight space like that. Let's make sure we got no sparks. Hook our custom battery cable back up. All right, let's see if this works. Make sure we're out of gear. Key, well, I'm gonna need both hands. Key on. Gotta hook the starter back up because I had it disconnected so I can jump it. Here we go. Nothing. Now we got nothing at all. What's going on? What does that mean? Because now we got no dash light either. Black. White jumped over there. That white one goes there. That all appears to be correct. Unless these terminals are different. Okay, I think I figured it out. Good thing I got that technical service manual thing with this. This has potentially 2 neutral safety switches. One for the main shaft, as in PTO shaft, and one if there's like a front PTO, I'm assuming for like a mower deck or something like that. This set of wires goes to this little switch here. So I don't know how easy that is to see, but that's the lever for the PTO. So if you lift this up and put it in neutral, it allows to start, but that switch is bad. So if I have the key on and I touch these together, I don't know if you can hear that. Something is clicking. And if I touch them together, I get starter. So, I'm going to jumper those 2 wires together for now. I don't obviously have a neutral safety switch. We'll just have to make sure our lever's up anytime we start it or use it, which would be good practice anyway. So let me get a chunk of wire, a couple spade connectors. We'll hook that up. Headlight switch, put the dash back together, some battery cables, and I think mechanically this thing will be done. We have a working ignition switch. Get some throttle. All right. Funny thing is, it probably didn't need the ignition switch. Because, well, I was trying to get this thing started in a barn in the dirt, so I didn't really have time to like diagnose. The ignition switch was 15 bucks. Other note is, I went ahead and put the headlight switch in. None of that stuff works either. To be fair, I'm sure all the bulbs are burnt out. In fact, if you look at these 2 wires here, they're not even hooked up to anything. Headlight bulb is obviously burnt out. Of course, it fell off. I had it sitting over here. It fell off when I started it, but that is obviously burnt. And I don't know what kind of goofy light bulb that is anyway. in all reality, I'm not going to run this thing at night. And for instance, these headlights sit about this high. If you have any kind of a load on the pallet forks, or you have a bucket raised up or anything, headlights aren't going to do anything. I'm not going to take it on the road. I don't really care about the hazard light. In all reality, I don't need a tail light or the hazard light. I probably take these out and put in like a couple LEDs or something if I really wanted lights. And then for forward, I'd probably mount some LEDs on the rollover bar pointing forward, or a light bar. Well, head might be in the way of the light bar, but if I really, really wanted lights, probably do something better than what the factory has anyway, realistically. The little fuse box down here does have power when you select all the stuff on the switches. So I'm pretty sure it's, well, like the one or two over there disconnected. I don't know if this one's connected. The one headlight bulb's burnt out. I'm sure the other one's burnt out. So we won't have any lights. It's fine. I'm not too concerned with it. I'll carry a flashlight or something if I have to. But again, I won't be using this thing at night mostly. And I'll probably go on Amazon and order up just some, you know, like some LED mountable lights and just run it that way. What was I going to say? Oh, so the headlight switch was probably useless, although I guess we could use that to operate the lights that we add if we go that route. But again, the headlights or the ignition switch was like $15. It wasn't that big of a deal. I think the headlight switch was 20 or 25. So we're not out a lot, although probably didn't need them. I'm going to swap out some battery cables real quick. That'll finish up the electrical stuff, and we'll get on to the fun stuff like cutting up and grinding and welding forks and a bucket. Yay. I think as far as mechanical and electrical, this thing's good to go. Positive cable has been swapped at some point. It's still soft and pliable, so I didn't bother with that. I did put new ends on and put a piece of red heat shrink on the one positive cable. The negative cable was dry and crunchy, had a funky end on it, so did go ahead and swap that out again with a new end. It just runs down and bolts to the frame rail. And while I was here, this grommet was all dry and coming apart, so I thought I'd go ahead and replace that. I have one of those, you know, little kits that are really nice and organized. Keep all your grommets in order. It's right there. So I went ahead and replaced that. Now I got to spend a few minutes cleaning that up. Again, mechanically, I think this is fine. The only thing I did notice is air filter's pretty dirty, so I'll get one of those coming. No big deal. Like I said, fluids and all that stuff looked really good. And now the electrical system seems to be working great, other than like the lights, like I said. So clean that up, and I think we'll start cutting these forks apart. Got the forks raised up in the air. I think a standard pallet is 36 inches, I believe. This one is 46 inches wide for whatever reason. I don't know what this was used for. The guy had some property where I got it from. I don't know what he was moving around. This is obviously homemade. He's using it for whatever specific use he had it for. I guess what I'm trying to say is, not that I move a lot of pallets and stuff around, but I want to be able to use it since I have it. I think what we're going to do is cut these side plates off. We'll cut this little brace piece out, and then we'll try to cut the forks out. And I think we're going to go 32 inches. That'll give us a little bit of room for error, as well as it looks like they just cut the side of this box tubing and smash it together, so it does actually stick out another inch or so. So there'll be 34 inches or so wide in the front. yeah, like I said, I don't move a lot of pallets and stuff around, but if we have pallet forks, might as well make them usable for ourselves. Maybe I'll get a delivery that's on a pallet, who knows? Or go pick up an engine or transmission or something and have a pallet laying around that I could put it on. That would be easy. So, like I said, just make it usable for us. I'm gonna get some earmuffs, glasses. It's gonna take a few minutes to get all cut apart. And it should be pretty simple. Like I said, cut the fork itself off. We'll make some marks, tack it all in place, and buzz it all back together. Alright, got the forks cut off, got it all cleaned up and ground down. That is a job and a half cutting and grinding old welds. I already went ahead and marked. This is a total of 46 inches wide. We want 32 total, so measured in 7 inches on each side. Made a mark. That gives us, actually it's a hair under 32, but that's fine. I think we're going to try to do this with the cart. I don't know how well this is going to work out, but we're going to try to just lower this down to it and see if that'll work, since these are sitting relatively flat on here. Shouldn't have to start the tractor. We might to angle it, but we'll see. Like that. Good thing is this doesn't really have to be precise. Probably, that's that manufacturing number over there. How'd that happen? Throwing my fours uneven? We have
hurry up, tack it before it moves.
Yeah. So if you look, that line and that line is pretty square. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I think we'll tack this one, square up that side, make sure they're 32 on that end, or matching, because I think it's a hair under 32. And then tack that one in place, full weld. And I still have to clean up our other pieces. We had this piece that went across here as an extra brace. And then our big triangles, obviously they're not going across the end, so we'll have to figure out where we want those exactly. Might have to trim those back. It's not going to take a lot. We won't be lifting a lot of weight with this thing anyway. So roll the welder over, put some tacks on that one, double check it because we probably moved it now, and get to welding. I think we're where we want it. That's tack, but we're going to need more heat. Let's go ahead and tack that one. And then we'll crank it up and full send. All right, she brought up a very valid point. I was measuring outside to outside. It's 32. These obviously have these braces across here, so it's not 32 at this end. It's actually about 30 and a half, which is fine. Like I said, I think 36 inches to the very outside edges, and then these have these funky deals on the end. So it's actually 32 on the outside of these points anyway. Whatever, doesn't matter that much. So we're gonna full weld this. I gotta clean up those other braces, get those welded in, as well as up here. So this has the pins and then the bracket up here to go on the 3-point if we wanted to do that. I don't think we would ever really need to. It had a funky piece of rebar, just kind of booger welded in here. If you look, it's got some cracks. So I think I'm gonna weld up those cracks, fix those, and then I'll find a piece of plate or something to plate this area for strength. I don't know that we'll ever use it on the 3-point, but in case we do, I wanna make sure it's strong, it's not gonna break, something like that. So, ready?
Sure, you're doing all the work.
Yep. Nothing changes around here. Forks are done. Welded these, the actual fork part, all the way around 4 sides, put this brace in. I opted not to do the triangle piece. Realistically, for what we're going to use this for, I think this is going to be plenty strong. I think this loader is only rated at like 700 pounds anyway. So realistically, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that will be plenty strong. I also went ahead and did the plate here. I did fix our little crack areas there, put that in there. If we want to use it on the 3-point, it should be plenty strong for that too. So this is all done. It needs to be cleaned up and painted and all that stuff because that's what I do. But turning our attention to the bucket, the issue I have, grab tape measure, we'll start over here. Sorry, we're kind of walking around in circles. This is about 36 inches center to center, give or take. And these are 2.5 inch wide cylinders. The bucket is about 32 inches wide and 3 inches separation. So not only do we have to cut these brackets off and move them out, we need to narrow them a little bit. It'd be nice if I could cut this entire bracing off, but that would be an absolute nightmare. So I think I'm just going to use the plasma cutter, cut both of these. We're going to have to separate it by this brace also. And then we'll have to notch this one 1/4 inch and move them out. So only one of these will pick up the brace, but again, I think that'll be plenty strong. This will kind of make more sense when I have it cut apart and kind of back lined up, if that makes any sense. Unfortunately, like I said, the buckets that we could find, I didn't find any specific for this. They were all really expensive, and if I can spend 1/3 of the price or 1/4 of the price and have to modify it, I'd rather go that way. So I think easiest way is plasma cutter. We'll knock all this stuff apart and probably take the forks off, put these 2 brackets on to the loader, and we'll see how it lines up. All right, here goes nothing. what an absolute fiasco that turned out to be. Tried to plasma cut them off, and most of the way through the first one, my plasma cutter decided it didn't want to plasma cut anymore. It now identifies that as a sparkler. So we ended up cut off wheel, and then cut off wheel didn't fit on the little brace that went between the two, so ended up using a Sawzall, and I'm apparently out of Sawzall blades, so that turned into a mess. We finally wore through it. We got there. So we spent the last probably close to an hour now grinding the back of the bucket, getting the welds cleaned off, cleaned these guys off, got them all prepped. I did take the one on each side and cut them back just a little bit to go with our difference between our plate and our bucket. Couple more things to do this that we'll talk about, but I think that's going to be it for today. Like usual, everything takes longer than I expected to. So we got the bucket to weld. We got the bucket to weld up still. We still got to fix the 3-point lever. Plan on pressure washing everything, cleaning everything up. I was going to paint the bucket, paint the forks. Not enough time in the day. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It's a new day. I think where we left off, we got our brackets cut off of the bucket. I think we're almost ready to put these back on, but there is one other modification we got to do. Not only were these brackets in the wrong place and they were too wide, these use a 1-inch pin. Our loader is only 3/4 inch. So what I want to do is I got 3/4 inch washers. I'm going to weld those in place. That'll take up our extra space. One will go on each hole. No big deal. Just don't want the bucket like flopping around. So I'm going to weld those up real quick. We got to get the forks off. Get all these brackets mounted up onto the loader in the position we want them. And then try to line the bucket up in order to weld it on. And once that's welded on, we're pretty much good to go. One other thing I did do is I ordered these little weld-on hooks from Amazon. Might mount a couple of those on the bucket. We talked about maybe mounting a couple of these on the forks. It was a 6-pack of them for like 18 bucks, so we got a few of them. But if we wanted to drag something around easily, we could. So let me get the grinder, clean these up just a little bit more. Weld the washers on real quick. I got these pins. Where are those at? Are they? The only thing I found for 3/4 inch pins were actually really, really long, and they're way too long. Currently, this has just bolts in it. So these pins are a bit long, but they will work. If I got to cut them down and re-drill a hole later, then I can do that. Not a big deal, but that'll get us changing out pretty easily. I don't know if I mentioned, I did look into like a quick attachment where it's like a skid steer style, but they're A, expensive, B, didn't fit this tractor and would have had to modify it anyway. And it would extend out another like 8 inches or something like that. So I don't see us swapping implements a whole lot. Realistically, once we do the stuff we want to do with the bucket, the forks will probably stay on it almost exclusively. So I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. And the bucket itself, me and her can lift pretty easily. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that heavy. So get the grinder back out, or find it, or wherever the heck it is. Weld these up real quick. Get the bucket welded on. Got all our washers welded on, ground down smooth. I think those are ready to install. Did go ahead and put the hooks on the, couple hooks on the forks, just in case we need them. they're there. I think that's complete for the forks anyway. I think I said that already before we did some other stuff, but I think the forks are actually complete now. We got this little dolly. We're gonna try to set the forks on it, roll it out of the way, figure out how these orient onto the loader, try to figure out a height and all that stuff to just roll the bucket over to it, and then we should be able to tack it into place and make sure it does all the stuff that it's supposed to do. And yeah, if that's all good, we'll weld it, full weld it, weld a couple hooks on that, and that'll be done with this end. And then we still got to look into that 3-point handle deal that's broken. But yeah, we're getting there. We're almost done. I say that, but it'll be at least the rest of the day, and probably tomorrow and the day after that.
We're almost done. 2 more days. No big deal. All right, get these forks off.
Okay. Now, let's see how we can line this up. Not sure what to do about that.
Well, it's going to be on a bucket.
I know, but we got to hold it in some way.
Oh.
All right, fire this back up. We'll roll this over, see if we can get it halfway lined up. It was lined up to the bottom, right? It was lined up to the bottom of that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to put this extra stuff down real quick because I have a feeling I'm going to need my hands. Okay. That side's a lot slower.
It's going to take a few minutes to get all lined up, so let's play with that, and we'll get back to you in a minute. I believe we have this where we need it to be. There is a slight gap on the outside ones. I could have ground down the inside one a hair more, but it's nothing bad. It's 1/16 of an inch, maybe 1/8 inch in some areas. I think it'll be okay. Realistically, we should have went ahead and cut this plate, moved the whole plate over, or added a plate on this side, but for what we're gonna do, I think this will be just fine. We're on the plate on the one, so it should be okay. Did put a clamp on each side just to kind of hold everything in place, make sure they're tight against each other and snug. So I think we're gonna need all hands here. Have you hold that side, I'll hold this side, we'll tack 4 corners on each one. And then we'll lift it off of the cart, make sure we get full movement and all that stuff. And yeah, should be good to go. Then we can full weld it,
Okay.
if everything works out.
Tripod?
Huh?
Tripod?
Sure. All right, that should be enough to test it, right?
mean, if you think it's going to be an issue, we can always weld something on the bucket to stop it
Yeah,
here.
I was just gonna say we need like a stopper of some sort. I just don't want whatever we put to be dragging on the cylinder. Like there's obviously a stop here for the original bucket. We may have to come up with something to. I don't want to not think about it. Pull the bucket back and blow a hydraulic line off of it. So
That doesn't look like it'd be fun to replace.
yeah. I mean, I guess we could weld to the cylinder too and just put a plate and triangulate it, but then we couldn't get this fitting out. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. All right, from here, I'm just gonna full weld this thing. It's gonna take a little time, so I'm just gonna get on it. We now officially have a working bucket. These are all fully welded. I did go ahead and put some hooks on it. The only thing that would need attention is some kind of stopper to keep us from hitting our line, which is actually what this was originally. The cylinder would come back and contact it, but since our brackets and stuff changed, it doesn't actually reach this. So we can actually just extend this a little bit if we need to, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. This is only a 50-inch bucket. Like I said, it's only a 20 horse tractor. Should be fine for what we need to do. If we need to, we do plan on like doing some gravel work and a little bit of dirt work. Nothing crazy, but there are some stuff around the property we want to get done. And this is better than renting and trying to get everything knocked out and get it back or get it charged an extra day and all that stuff. Be handy to have this around. So from here, I believe all we got left is the handle to fix for the 3-point. Now I gotta see where the heck I put it. Got our handle, which is broken off of here, obviously. Should be pretty straightforward just to weld that back together and put a little gusset on it or whatever with a little piece of 1/8 inch. Problem is I can't see how it attaches. So I think we're gonna pull this fender off. It looks like 4 bolts there, 1 there. We can just pull the whole fender off of it. And then we can kind of see how the handle itself attaches. My brain doesn't work as per usual. The only other thing we got to figure out is why it's like drifting down, which isn't the end of the world. I have an idea to kind of make it work good enough. I'm not super proficient at hydraulics or tractors for that matter, so we're gonna try something, see if we can make it happen and work good enough for us. I don't expect to be using the 3-point a lot anyway. So, all right, 5 bolts.
There's a spider in my pocket.
There's a spider in your pocket. Well, there it is. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Dead now.
Got our bracket out of the way. Should just be a matter of taking this apart. Taking these 2 nuts off to slide this off, and I think we got to take this whole flange thing off. But so the way this should work is you move this handle to where you want it, but it drifts back down with the weight of the 3-point. In fact, we can do it real quick.
I'll show you. Watch the hardware and hopefully it doesn't slide right off.
If I run this up, raises the 3-point. If I let go, oh, now it's going to work. There we go. Well, now it seems to be working like it's supposed to. It was drifting down. Maybe it got some fluid cycle through it and it's working like it's supposed to now. Okay. Turn it off. I thought we were gonna have to do some funkiness. I guess we just have to weld it back together. Before, like I said, I had run it back to raise it, When I let go of the handle, it just drifted back down, handle and everything. So my plan was actually to drill a hole in this, run a nut and bolt, and then just put a wing nut on this side so we could set it where we want it, just tighten the wing nut. It has this little stopper deal that has a wing nut on this side. What that's for is setting depth, from my understanding. I was reading the manual. If you're doing a lot of work and you, like with a box blade, and you want it the same height all the time, you set it to your height and then move this up to where you want it, and then when you push the handle down to lower it, it hits that stop and it's at the same spot every time. Again, not something, we're not doing a bunch of farming obviously, so not a big deal, but okay. I'm guessing some fluid worked its way through it. Again, I don't know a lot about hydraulic stuff, so it seems to be working now, so we'll just fix the handle.
This thing sat for a while, so.
Yeah. We're not sure exactly how long this thing sat around, but it did do some sitting. These weren't supposed to come off together, but they did. Okay, big nut, small nut on the outside, 2 washers. And I think we need to take potentially these 2 little bolts out and pull this whole thing off at the same time. Somehow. The wrench go. Right here.
I don't know, you're hiding tools all over this tractor.
That is something else I'd like to look into, is a spot for a little toolbox. Whether we mount something on a fender or across the bar, across the back. It'd be nice to have, you know, a big crescent wrench and stuff like that. Piece of chain. You never know. So we're not, if we are doing something with it, we don't have to run back and forth to get tools.
That wasn't my planned segue, by the way.
I know, but I've already thought about that though.
Hey.
Oh, okay. Well,
Got it.
maybe we just weld it with it on here. Maybe we didn't have to take all that stuff apart.
If you weld it with it on there, how do you get it back through the bracket?
Oh, good point. You don't. That's why I keep you around. Every once in a while. It's rare, but every once in a while, you're helpful. Don't hit me, please.
I'm getting a new battery now.
Ended up putting this back together. This rod is rusted onto here, and I didn't want to fight with getting it off. So I think what we're going to do is, this looks like a couple rivets. We're just going to grind the heads off of this. This handle will separate, we'll fix it, and then just put a couple bolts in. Actually, her idea. Go team. Grinder. Ended up drilling them out. Drilling out the rivets. Got it apart. Go clean these pieces up. We'll weld them back together. I should have some 1/8 inch. This went that way, I believe. Should have some 1/8 inch. I can plate across it to make it extra strong. I'm gonna go do that real quick. We'll start putting all this back together, and we can test it. Except it's raining. It's supposed to be thunderstorms and rain for like a week and a half. So, yay us. All right, maybe we'll get a little break. We can try it out. Probably shouldn't paint it when it's blazing hot. It's basically powder coat. Stiffen that up with a piece of 1/8 inch. Should be plenty strong now. So grab a couple 1/4 inch bolts. We'll get that back on, get all this back together. And I think we're done.
With modifications / fixes?
And repairs, yeah. We'll go find a couple bolts. We'll put this together.
Probably shouldn't leave that on the tire. It's smoking.
All right. Oh, we still gotta get this PTO off. Mm-hmm. And I got one other thing to show you guys. got our handle put back together. That should be plenty strong, I think. And went ahead and put the fender and all that stuff back on. So all that stuff's good. Want to get this PTO shaft off. When we went and picked this thing up, it had a bush hog attached to it, and then we had the problem with the handle where it was falling back down and all that. So ended up just separating the shaft. This has like a slip collar, and on the back side there's like you kind of like squeeze it to release it. And I think there's like ball bearings in there that lock onto the PTO shaft. I couldn't get it to work or couldn't get it to separate. We were in the barn in dirt, and I didn't have a pry bar. So I'm going to try to get this apart here. I think maybe might need another set of hands. I don't know. I can pull the release. I just can't get the actual shaft to move. Why don't you set the camera down? There it goes. No, it should be released from there, so we're just going to get it to come the rest of the way off.
This thing probably hasn't been greased in a while either.
I'm sure. Can you pull a little bit? So this is the PTO shaft. It's got this line in it here, this ridge. So this collar, I don't know if you can see them, but there's little ball bearings in there. And when you pull this collar back, it releases those bearings. Those bearings can slide out. Problem is, it's just all rusty and hadn't been on and off there in a while. So if we go to use this PTO, we'll have to clean this up, spray it with some lubricant before we put a PTO shaft on it. So let's dig out the 3-point attachment that I did buy and put it on here and try to use this thing. Ready?
Gotta get off the ground first.
Yeah, that's the hard part. This is a 3-point hitch system from a company called Titan Attachments. Normally this would have what's called a drawbar. A big plate that you can slide in and out for length. Would have a hole in the end you can attach implements to. We don't have that. If I want to move our little trailer around, it's got a 2-inch hitch. It's also got these bars on it here for weights, which we do have some weights, like ballast weights. As well as, I got the one that has the gooseneck. I don't know if this tractor is big enough or heavy enough to move our 26-foot gooseneck around. But I figured if I was buying the implement, I might as well get the one with the gooseneck attachment. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. It's not like I move the gooseneck around all the time, but if it does work, it'll be handy to have. So, I guess we put this thing on here somehow.
Do we need grease for those things before we do this?
We will worry about greasing everything later because I still want to pressure wash it all.
Okay. Do you need my help again?
I don't know. That one easy. Hopefully we don't have to mess with adjustments. Should be pretty standard size. Alright. That guy. Let go. I honestly don't even know if this will go high enough.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
But it'll work for our, it's angled too. That needs to be adjusted. It'll work good for like our little trailer and stuff too, if we need to move it around for whatever reason. We have that little 5x8. You've seen this bed on it a couple times. So this is what I was talking about adjusting. You need a big crescent wrench to break that loose. Again, toolbox would be handy to have stuff on here. All right. Let's see how bad of an angle this is at once it's lifted up.
Yeah, you can see if your handle works.
Sure. Let's move some stuff around. We'll see if this will even move the gooseneck. Just because, again, not really necessary, but if we can, we will. Also, we need to swap the bucket back out for pallet forks. We just so happen to have a pallet of mulch in the back of the dually. That would be a lot easier to use pallet forks than it would be to unload each bag by hand. So we're going to do a quick little cleanup. We'll pull this thing out and put it to work.
I don't think it's gonna pull the gooseneck.
We're about to find out. So, like I said, this only has a 700-pound lift capacity. This is obviously more than that. and it is all covered in water, which doesn't help. That was fun though. Definitely should have had ballast weight on the back, which is why I got that hitch to support the weights.
Okay.
I'm not a tractor guy. It's been a long time since I've used a tractor. Okay.
Should you go put weights on this before you try and move this anymore?
Oh, I'm leaving it right here.
Okay.
I think we can get around it.
Okay.
Well, let's start.
So it's in gear.
Neutral. Gotta adjust that seal. Well, it barely moves that, but it does move it. It could use a little ballast weight too on the front. It feels a little light. Again, not that we would move this thing around very much, or really probably ever with this. We'll use it on the little trailer for sure. As far as the mulch goes, that's 50 or 60 bags.
Yeah.
40 bags because you already moved some, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably 40, 45 bags, something like that. Plus they're all wet. I knew this lift capacity wasn't that high. So it was kind of a gamble on whether or not that would work anyway. But if it's just an engine on a pallet, just a transmission on a pallet in the back of the pickup, it would probably do just fine. Or parts delivered or whatever. But the pallet forks did fit, which is nice. And it does move the big iron bull gooseneck, although it's a little sketchy.
I'm not sure it's going to move it back.
Nah, it'll move it back. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Neutral.
Well, that was a little more adventurous than I had anticipated. I kind of knew that going in. I knew this lift capacity wasn't that high. But, you know, smaller projects should be fine. Like I said, that's quite a bit of weight. If any of you have ever moved mulch around, probably should have had ballast weights on the back, which is what they're for. Or if the big heavy bush hog was hanging off the back or something like that. But, you know, it worked. Moving the big trailer is sketchy, to say the least. And I, again, kind of knew that going in. I just wanted to see if it would do it. More weight on the front would probably help, but I really don't see us moving that trailer around a bunch. It gets parked and that's it. So, little trailer, however, we will use the heck out of this thing to move that around when we need it. It does have that same kind of chain hook on it. so we can drag projects around and that kind of stuff if we need to. So as far as mechanical and all the electrical stuff's done, it all works well. You know, we found its limitations, but it works. From here, the only thing left that I want to do is we have a bunch of raw metal that we welded. We have the black implement paint that we used on the interior of the 59 that's sitting right there. So I'd like to go ahead and paint the forks and paint the bucket. I'm not going to worry about the green at all, but these wheels are pretty flaky. The paint's coming off of them, so I think I'm going to pressure wash this whole thing real quick. Just clean it up, let it dry. I did get some yellow, John Deere yellow paint. We'll paint up the wheels real quick, and the pallet force and bucket. My brain doesn't work, Jesus. Just spruce her up just a little bit. So she cleans up pretty good. Not too bad. Pressure washed everything, got all the gunk and the kind of flaky paint off. It looks like this green's been painted previously. A couple different layers there. Got the forks and bucket painted. Just kind of slopped some implement paint on. Didn't get too crazy. You know, there's all the scratches and stuff in it. In fact, there's some runs, and they're going to be used and abused, so I don't really care that much. Just wanted to cover up the bare metal more than anything. And then the yellow wheels, repainting the yellow on the wheels made a huge difference. Decided the hubs and lug bolts should be black just for a little bit of contrast. Turned out pretty good. Other than that, off camera we did throw a seat on it. This is just a, it was on clearance at Tractor Supply. The other one was pretty ragged. And I don't know what she did with it, but this was on like a big bracket. That's fine. This was on like a big bracket. We cut it off the bracket and a couple quick pieces of angle iron, welded, bolted that on. Yeah, it cleaned up pretty good. What all did we do to it? I don't remember now. Started with the ignition switch that it probably didn't need. Turned out the neutral safety switch on the PTO was bad, but not a big deal. We'll have to see about getting one of those. Put a headlight switch in it, which also it probably didn't need. Turns out none of the headlights or running lights or any of that stuff work anyway. Like we talked about, if we wanted to get crazy, we could put some LEDs pointing off the back, a couple off the front. Again, I don't really plan on using this thing at night, really. But, I mean, if it is dark outside and we want to unload something, it'd be nice to have a light. Forks, we narrowed. They were 46 inches for whatever reason. I think we ended up at about 30 inches at the front, so we can actually use it for pallets if we need to. Modified a used bucket to make it fit our loader. That all turned out okay. Added the 3-point on the back, as well as fixed the handle. And like I said, it was drifting down before. That all seems to be operating normally now. I'm guessing it just needed to be woken back up. Anything else that we did?
You adjusted the 3-point?
Yeah, I did adjust the 3-point. It was sitting like that, but Just adjusted that. This one is adjustable, so you can change the angle of whatever implement you have. So I just leveled that out because we don't really need it off to one side. Is there anything else we did?
You adjusted a brake hub.
Huh?
You adjusted the brake
Oh,
hub.
that brake was hanging up just a little bit. I just adjusted that off camera. Not a big deal. Anyway, we started with something actually mechanically sound. All the fluids look very, very clean, almost brand new. So we didn't have to dive into any of that stuff. Everything worked and operated. There are a few things that need some attention. For instance, the tires have all the nubs on them still, like they don't have a lot of use, but there is some cracking. So we might have to see if we can find a deal on some tires. Fronts are the same way. At least have maybe one of each on hand in case we have an issue with one. And also there is that hydraulic hose could probably be addressed. A lot of these have been replaced already. You can see they're newer. That hose mainly needs some attention. Other than that, it's pretty good. We did paint the wheel extenders or the spacers. Went ahead and painted those black too. I don't know why they were burgundy. I'm guessing it's just whatever paint the guy had when he put them on. I don't know. Yeah, they got burgundy inside the fenders and stuff too. I'm not sure what all that is about. The story we kind of got was, it was on this lady's father's property. He unfortunately passed away, and they needed it cleared out. They were clearing out the property to sell. Her husband had said that they got this thing running last October. It's May now, so 7 months ago. They had it running. They didn't say anything about moving it or operating it or anything like that. Just got it running. Don't know how long it set before that. So it'll be good to put it back to work and use it. And I think it's got a lot of years of life left. Speaking of which, let's walk outside for just a second. We intend to brush hog this whole section. I think we talked about that a little bit. I'd like to clean it up, put some mulch in or something, just clean it up a little bit. You can see where there's a lot of weeds out in the front here. We actually had dirt brought in. We still got to get rid of stumps. We want to gravel an area, do some garden work. I'd like to do something about this hill, clean it up a little bit. Probably going to do like a little mini carport up there to hide the tractor under, so it's not out in the weather. And then back here, ignore that thing.
The chickens need a bigger house.
Yeah, we got to build a chicken coop. Back here is the biggest change that you guys have not seen really. Well, first of all, Michelle Abbott's pinstriping and lettering came back out, lettered up the dually for me. Looks fantastic. If you are a long-time watcher, subscriber, whatever, you watched any of the early videos when we did a walk around on the shop, there was a big dip here and this whole thing sloped to the back a lot. We had a lot of dirt brought in back here to level it off. So again, with the tractor, bush hog this stuff, we want to clean up this edge. You see how it's just really just kind of rough cut off. We want to clean that up a bit, and all of this is getting gravel. And I say all that because let me know if you're interested in seeing it. If not, then I'll just do it and get it done. But if you're interested in actually seeing tractor work instead of working on a tractor, I know that's not really like speed and repair type stuff, but if you're interested, leave a comment. Let me know. And we'll make a video of seeing what I can tear up in the yard. Other than that, we did some testing. Tried to roll the tractor over, found its limits. I think with counterweight on the back, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal with the mulch part of it. It was probably too heavy for it. And then it does move the gooseneck trailer, but not very well. I kind of knew that going in. That trailer, I think, is 4,400 pounds empty. I mean, it's a big, heavy trailer. And then this guy's only, like I said, a 20 horsepower tractor. So, but since I was buying the 3-point, it was basically the same price as getting the one with the gooseneck ball and one without. So I wanted to go ahead and give it a try, see what happened.
That's a lot of talking.
Yeah, I'm rambling on, I know. So, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. Leave me comments, we read them all. You guys are awesome. We have ordered a bunch of parts and are starting to get them in for the 59 project. So that's coming right back after this. Yeah.
Lots of work.
Lots of work.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you guys. And I think that's it. We'll see you guys next time. We got a shop to clean.